Am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend to shower more often? I've always thought relationships thrive on honesty, but sometimes honesty can feel like walking through a minefield. My girlfriend and I had been together for a while and things were mostly great. We hit the gym together, cooked dinners, and shared a cozy apartment. But there was one issue that started small and grew into a full-blown problem: her showering habits. She showered maybe once a week, twice if I was lucky. At first, I didn't think much of it. People have different routines, right? But after months of gym sessions, long workdays, and now her new sauna obsession, it was impossible to ignore. We'd head to the gym together, sweat it out, and I'd notice she'd skip the shower every time. I'd ask casually, "Hey, not rinsing off?" She'd laugh it off with, "Oh, women don't sweat much, and I barely sweat for a woman." I'd raise an eyebrow because, well, I could smell otherwise. It wasn't just a faint whiff, it was noticeable, especially after workouts. I tried to be patient. She's sensitive, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings. But it started affecting us in ways I didn't expect. Our intimacy took a hit. I used to love being close to her, but the lingering odor made it tough. I'd make excuses to avoid certain moments, and it gnawed at me. Then she started using the gym's sauna, sitting in there for 20 minutes, twice a week. I'd see her come out, skin glistening, and still, no shower. "You don't sweat in there?" I asked once, trying to keep it light. "Not really," she said, shrugging. I was dumbfounded. 5 minutes in that sauna left me drenched, but she claimed she was fine? The smell told a different story. It got to the point where being near her was uncomfortable. I'd catch myself holding my breath when we were close, and that's no way to live with someone you love. I tried dropping hints. "Hey, want to take a shower together?" I'd say with a playful nudge, hoping she'd bite, but she'd brush it off, saying, "There's only room for one under the water." I was running out of subtle ways to address it. One evening, she invited me to lie on the floor with her, staring at her world map, dreaming about travel. I wanted to share that moment, but a minute in, the smell hit me hard. I made up some lame excuse to get up, and she got upset. "Why are you leaving? You never do stuff with me," she said, her voice sharp. It broke my heart because I wanted to be there, but I couldn't. I started wondering if I was resenting her. This one issue was casting a shadow over everything else. Finally, I couldn't hold it in. One night, I tried the shower invite again. She declined. So I took a deep breath and said, "Look, I know you say you don't sweat, but I can smell it. I don't like the smell of sweat. And since we go to a busy gym, I'd appreciate if you showered more." The room went silent. Then, World War III. She freaked out, accusing me of calling her disgusting, asking if I was repulsed by her. It felt like she was twisting my words, maybe even pushing me away on purpose. I tried explaining it wasn't about her as a person. It was about hygiene, something fixable. But she doubled down, saying she didn't want to wash her hair too often. I suggested just washing her body, but she wasn't having it. Things spiraled. She got defensive, and I learned about deeper issues, trauma she hadn't fully shared. When I brought it up again, she snapped, "Break up with me then," like she was daring me. It felt like she was shutting me out, refusing to meet me halfway. We broke up shortly after. She couldn't see anything wrong with her habits, and I couldn't keep pretending it didn't bother me. I found out later she'd been seeking validation from other guys, which stung, but it made sense. She saw herself as above men, and I felt like I'd been more of a giver than she ever was. Maybe I could have been gentler, but I tried for months. Am I the asshole for asking her to shower more? Am I the asshole for not letting my daughter take the family cat? When my daughter, Lily, was 15, we got her a cat. She'd begged for a pet, her eyes lighting up at the thought of a furry companion. We brought home a tiny, timid tabby we named Muffin. The deal was that Muffin was her cat, but as parents often do, I ended up handling the nitty-gritty: vet bills, litter box duty, and keeping her fed. Muffin became more than just Lily's pet. She wove herself into our family's fabric. She'd curl up on my lap during movie nights, chase our Siamese Jasper around the house, and even snuggle with our old dog Max. The three of them were a little trio, inseparable in their quirky ways. Lily's 22 now, and she recently moved 2 hours away for a job. She's got a small apartment in the city, a new chapter she's excited about. But a few weeks ago, she dropped a bombshell. She wanted to take Muffin with her. I was caught off guard. Muffin's 7, an indoor-only cat who spooks at the sound of a doorbell. The idea of uprooting her from her home, her routine, and her animal buddies felt wrong. I told Lily no, explaining it wasn't best for Muffin. She didn't take it well. "She's my cat," she argued, her voice sharp. "You can't hold her hostage." I tried to stay calm, but it stung. Hostage? I'd been the one scooping litter and paying for Muffin's fancy food all these years. Lily loved Muffin, played with her, cuddled her, but she'd never taken on the real responsibilities. I explained that Muffin was bonded to Jasper and Max, that a move could stress her out. Lily's apartment is small, with thin walls and city noise. Muffin hides under the couch when we vacuum. How would she handle a bustling city? Lily insisted Muffin would adjust, that she needed her. I stood firm, saying Muffin was staying. The argument escalated. Lily accused me of being controlling, saying I was stealing her pet. I reminded her that Muffin wasn't just hers. She was part of our home. I even offered to help her find a new pet, maybe a kitten better suited for her apartment. She stormed off, saying she'd think about it. I felt awful. Was I being too harsh? I love Lily, and I know Muffin means the world to her, but I couldn't shake the image of Muffin trembling in a strange place, far from her familiar comforts. Days passed, and the tension hung over us like a cloud. I started second-guessing myself. Maybe I was being selfish, clinging to Muffin because I'd grown attached too. I talked to my husband, who agreed Muffin should stay but worried Lily felt dismissed. We didn't want to push her away. I even checked online forums, curious what others thought. Most agreed. Moving a timid cat like Muffin could be traumatic, especially when she's so settled. That gave me some reassurance, but I still felt torn. Then one morning, Lily called. Her voice was softer, less defensive. She'd been to a shelter and met a kitten, a spunky little thing she named Luna. She admitted she'd been upset but realized Muffin was happier at home. I was floored. Proud, too. She'd thought it through and made a mature choice. We talked about Luna, how she'd fit into Lily's new life, and how Muffin could stay part of her visits home. It felt like a weight lifted. Looking back, I wonder if I could have handled it differently. Maybe sat Lily down sooner, explained Muffin's needs more gently. But I think we got to the right place. Lily's thrilled with Luna, and Muffin's still snoozing on my couch, Jasper at her side. The house feels whole, and so does our family, even with Lily's new distance. Am I the asshole for not letting her take the cat? Am I the asshole for refusing to care for my sister's mother-in-law? Losing my dad earlier this year was like a punch to the gut. For 5 years, my mom, my girlfriend, my sister, her husband, and I rallied around him, helping him through his illness. Mom was the rock, the primary caregiver, always there for doctor's visits and late-night needs. My girlfriend and I pitched in hands-on, driving him to appointments, cooking meals, and keeping his spirits up. My sister, living abroad, did what she could from afar. Phone calls, sending money, organizing things remotely. We were a team, no resentment, just love for Dad. His passing left us raw, but we got through it together. Now my sister's mother-in-law, Eleanor, is stirring up tension. Eleanor is around 90, a tough woman who's survived cancer and recently, a bad fall. She's got 5 kids, including my brother-in-law, but 4 of them want to put her in a nursing home. My sister and her husband disagree. They've decided to care for Eleanor full-time themselves. The catch? They live in another country, and by law, Eleanor has to spend 5 months a year back here. During those months, my sister and her family come for summer vacation, but for the remaining 3 months, they're stuck. The other siblings won't step up, and 24/7 care costs a fortune, $15,000 a month, which they can't swing. So my sister asked me to take care of Eleanor for those 3 months. I froze when she brought it up. Part of me, the family part, felt a tug to help. We're taught family sticks together, right? But the bigger part of me was angry she even asked. My mom, my girlfriend, and I just went through years of caregiving. We're still grieving Dad. I'm trying to focus on my life, my girlfriend, my mom, my own peace. Why should we sacrifice again when Eleanor's own kids won't? It feels like my sister's taking advantage of our willingness to step up. I told her no. I laid it out. Caregiving again would strain my relationship with my girlfriend, who's already helping with my mom. It's not fair to her. Plus, I don't see Eleanor as my family. My sister and her husband chose to take this on. Why does that mean we're roped in? I get that they're in a tough spot, but asking us feels like overstepping. My sister pushed back, saying they just need help, that it's only 3 months. But those 3 months could breed resentment, not just toward her, but Eleanor's whole family. I'm already picturing the tension, the arguments, the exhaustion. My girlfriend agrees with me. She's been a saint through everything, but she's firm that taking on Eleanor isn't our responsibility. Mom's 65, still adjusting to life without Dad, and piling more on her plate feels cruel. I tried explaining this to my sister, but she seemed hurt, like I was abandoning her. I feel guilty, but also angry. Why is this even a question? They made this choice, not us. I want simplicity right now. Time to heal. To build my life with my girlfriend. To be there for Mom without another crisis. I keep replaying the conversation, wondering if I was too harsh. Maybe I could have offered something smaller, like checking in on Eleanor occasionally, but even that feels like opening a door I want to keep closed. Caregiving is a beast. It's not just time, it's emotional weight. I've carried that before, and I'm not ready to do it again, not for someone who isn't my family. My sister's hurt, and I hate that, but I can't shake the feeling that her request was unfair. Am I selfish for wanting to protect my own peace? Could I have handled this better? Maybe found a compromise? Or is it okay to draw a hard line? Am I the asshole for declining to help? Am I the asshole for leaving my mom's dinner because she didn't cook anything my wife could eat? Getting married is supposed to bring families closer, but for me, it's been a bumpy road. My wife Olga and my mom have never really clicked. I kept hoping things would smooth out after the wedding, that they'd find some common ground. So when mom invited us over for our first dinner as a married couple at her house, I was optimistic. It felt like a chance to start fresh, to share a meal and maybe mend some fences. Olga's vegan, she switched from vegetarian a few months ago, and mom knows this. She's known for ages, so I figured she'd make at least something Olga could eat. We showed up, the house smelling like a southern kitchen in full swing. Mom had gone all out. Fried chicken, mac and cheese, jambalaya, and banana pudding for dessert. My mouth watered, but Olga's face fell. I scanned the table for something she could have. There was a soggy salad, limp lettuce, and a few sad tomatoes, and a vegetable soup. I asked Mom about the soup, hoping it was vegan. "Oh, it's got chicken broth," she said, like it was no big deal. "Makes it tastier." My heart sank. Not a single dish was vegan-friendly. Olga, trying to be polite, picked at the salad, but I could see she was hurt. I pulled Mom aside and said we'd have to leave since there was nothing for Olga to eat. She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "She can pick the shrimp out of the jambalaya," she said, gesturing to the table. "And there's the salad." I explained that wasn't how veganism works. It's not just about picking out meat. Mom rolled her eyes and said the soup was fine. I pointed out the chicken broth and she snapped, "That's bullshit." Then she turned to Olga and said, "Can't you just eat normally for one day?" I saw Olga's jaw tighten. She said she didn't mind just having the salad, but I knew she was trying to keep the peace. I was done. "Thanks for the effort, Mom, but we're leaving," I said. I kept my tone firm, but calm. Mom lost it. She accused us of being disrespectful, said she'd spent hours cooking for me. That's when it hit me. She'd cooked for me, not us. I told her she should have thought about Olga too. She doubled down, saying I was exaggerating because it's not like she's allergic or anything. That stung. Olga's veganism isn't a whim, it's her choice, and Mom's dismissal felt like a slap in the face. We left before dinner was served. In the car, Olga was quiet, but I could tell she was upset, not just about the food, but about feeling like an afterthought. I felt awful for her and angry at Mom. She knew Olga's vegan, yet she didn't make a single thing she could eat. Was it ignorance or something else? Mom's always been stubborn, and she's never warmed to Olga. Part of me wondered if this was her way of asserting control, like she was testing us. I tried talking to her later, but she just repeated that Olga was being difficult, and I was choosing my wife over her. I keep replaying it, wondering if I overreacted. Maybe we could have stayed, let Olga eat her salad and made the best of it. But that felt like letting Mom off the hook for ignoring Olga's needs. I want my wife to feel respected, especially in my family's home. Still, I hate the rift this caused. Mom's telling relatives I'm ungrateful, and some agree, saying Olga should have been flexible for one meal. But it's not about one meal, it's about Mom not caring enough to try. Was I wrong to walk out? Could I have handled it differently, maybe pushed harder for a compromise? Am I the asshole for leaving before dinner? Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law she can get a hotel if she keeps rearranging my kitchen? Living with my husband has always been a balancing act, mostly because of our height difference. I'm 6'6", he's 5'7", and his whole family's on the shorter side. When we moved in together, we had to figure out how to make our space work. The kitchen was the biggest challenge. Crouching to reach low cabinets kills my back, so we set things up for my height. Mugs, spices, pots, all on higher shelves. My husband uses a step stool, which he's totally fine with. It's not perfect, but it's our system, and it keeps me from wincing every time I need a plate. Then my mother-in-law, Diane, came to stay. Her house needed roof repairs, and since my best friend, my husband's sister, didn't have space, our spare room was the logical choice. I was happy to help, but 2 weeks in, I was ready to pull my hair out. Diane kept rearranging the kitchen. She'd move everything to lower shelves, saying she didn't want to use the step stool. It wasn't about her age or safety. She just didn't like it. She'd grumble about how ridiculous it was to have things so high, how it was rude to guests. I bit my tongue at first, thinking she'd adjust. My husband stepped in, politely but firmly. "This is how we do things," he told her. "It's for her comfort." Diane would nod, leave it alone for a day, then rearrange again. I'd come home from work, reach for my coffee filters, and find them stuffed in a low cabinet. My back would ache from bending down, and my patience was thinning. I talked to my husband, and he kept trying to reason with her, but it was like talking to a wall. Diane would smile, agree, then do it again. The breaking point came one morning. I just wanted my coffee. Simple, right? But my favorite mug was nowhere to be found. I searched for 5 minutes, growing more irritated, until I finally knelt, painfully, to check a lower cabinet. There it was, shoved in the back. My back twinged, my temper flared, and I'd had enough. I turned to Diane, who was sipping tea at the table, and said, "If you can't stop rearranging my kitchen, you can get a hotel room. I'm done with this." My voice was sharp, angrier than I meant it to be. But I was fed up. Diane's face crumpled. She started blustering, tears in her eyes, saying she was just trying to make it make sense. She went on about how this was her son's home, how it was just a little reorganization, and how unfair it was that everyone had to suffer because I'm tall. Then she hit me with, "You're heartless to threaten me with a hotel over the holidays." I felt a pang of guilt, but mostly frustration. My husband backed me up, saying it wasn't just his home, it was mine too. If she couldn't respect that, she'd have to leave. Diane stormed to the guest room, and I could hear her crying. My husband was shaken. He hates seeing his mom upset, and I felt awful for putting him in that spot. He stood by me, but I could see the strain in his eyes. Part of me wondered if I should have been softer, maybe just moved things back myself and let it slide. But every time I think about it, I get mad again. This is my home. I shouldn't have to hurt my back to make coffee in my own kitchen. Diane's not a guest forever. She's living with us, and she needs to respect our space. Still, I hate how this made my husband feel. Maybe I could have found a gentler way to set the boundary. Am I the asshole for snapping at her? Am I the asshole for telling my mom and sister the best help they can give is to shut the fuck up? 6 weeks ago, my wife Emily gave birth to our son Liam. He's healthy, a little bundle of joy with tiny fists and big eyes. Emily's doing okay physically, her recovery's been smooth, but emotionally, she's on shaky ground. She's grappling with postpartum anxiety and some mental health struggles from before the pregnancy have flared up. Hormones and the stress of new motherhood haven't helped. She also decided not to breastfeed, a choice rooted in her personal history, something she keeps private. I know the details, as does her family, and we all support her. It's what's best for her, and that's what matters. My mom and sister, though, are a different story. They're hardcore breastfeeding advocates, almost militant about it. They belong to this group that pushes it like it's the only way to be a good mom. Before Liam was born, I warned them, don't bring it up with Emily. Don't pressure her or offer helpful tips. She's made her choice, and it's not their place to weigh in. They nodded, said they understood, but I should have known better. The second they visited, they showed up with pamphlets from their breastfeeding group, cornering Emily with advice. They told her there was zero reason she couldn't try. Emily's face went pale, and I saw her shrink into herself. I was livid. I told them to leave. The rest of the family, who'd been respectful, got to stay, but Mom and my sister were out the door. I reminded them of the boundary I'd set, but they acted shocked, saying Emily never gave a good reason for not breastfeeding. I shut that down hard. She doesn't owe them an explanation. They kept texting, asking when they could visit again. I said not until they could respect our rules. They didn't get it. A few days ago, they pulled me into a group call, pleading to come see Liam. I asked if they'd honor the boundary. They dodged, saying they just wanted to help. That's when I lost it. The best help you can give is to shut the fuck up and support what she's doing, I said. Your help isn't needed. I didn't mean to be so harsh, but I was done. They'd ignored me, pushed Emily when she was already fragile, and acted like their opinions trumped her choices. They called me disrespectful, said I was punishing them for looking out for Emily and Liam. They claimed they were just advocating for what's best. But they weren't. They were pushing their agenda, disregarding everything I'd told them. Now they're mad, saying I was too cruel. I keep turning it over in my head. Emily's my priority. She's been through enough, and I see how hard she's trying to keep it together. Mom and my sister's pressure didn't just annoy her. It hurt her, made her feel like she's failing as a mom. I can't let that slide, but part of me wonders if I went too far. They're family, and they love Liam. Maybe I could have been calmer, found a way to make them understand without cursing them out. Emily says I did the right thing, that she feels safer with me standing up for her. Still, I hate the tension. Mom's been calling relatives, painting me as the bad guy, and my sister's giving me the silent treatment. It's a mess. I just want Emily to feel supported, not judged. She's an incredible mom, bottle feeding Liam with love, staying up through his cries, and navigating her anxiety like a warrior. My mom and sister's help isn't help, it's control. But was I too blunt? Could I have set the boundary without burning bridges? I'm torn between protecting my wife and keeping peace with my family. Am I the asshole for telling them to shut the fuck up?